Or take up somebody else.
I was on mute. Due to inflationary pressures and construction cost increases, the total project amount is proposed to be revised to $9,720,000. The assistance contemplated by the agency will include mortgage tax abatement, sales tax exemption on any materials and or equipment purchased for incorporation into project, and real property tax abatement in accordance with existing agency uniform tax exemption policy and guidelines as amended. In accordance with Section 859-A of New York State General Municipal Law, a representative of the agency will present a copy of the company's project application, which is also available for viewing on the agency's website. In furtherance of the provisions of Section 859-A, interested parties will be provided a reasonable opportunity, both orally and in writing, to present their views with respect to the project. Finally, the agency also encourages all interested parties to submit written comments to the agency, which will be included within the public hearing record until the comment period closes on July 10th, 2024. Motion to open the public hearing. Thanks, Cam. And then second by Bob. Public hearing is open at 7:37 a.m. We do have Miss Stair from the Hamburg Sun online, and the applicant was due to join via Zoom. I don't see them yet. Let me just recap this project. So initially, Staub 3 LLC and Staub Precision Machine had been approved for a total project amount to exceed $8,835,000. They need to increase to $9,720,000. So this will result in increased benefits provided to the company. It will not be in property tax abatement. So the discounts will be implemented on the mortgage recording tax, and then also the sales tax. So they have additional sales tax that they have requested due to essentially construction cost increases. So the delta here, the increase, just to break it down, I did some math just to explain it further. So we're going from $66,263 in mortgage tax abatement to proposed $72,900, which is a difference of $6,637, an increase in mortgage tax discount. And then on the sales tax side, we're going from $239,794 to $349,900. That results in a difference of $110,106. So the total, okay, Jonathan's in the waiting room here. Hi, Jonathan. You're on mute, just so you know.
Morning, everyone. How are you?
Hang on, I can't hear you.
You're talking to a computer.
Audio.
Gotta lighten it up.
No, hey, I'm IT guy right now.
But you're doing a hell of a job, brother.
I am. I can't. Jonathan, I cannot
There
hear
goes your
you.
raise.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Right.
Can you hear me now?
Jen,
Volume
is
is
this a normal
on.
process? Oh, okay, so everything's good. Okay. There's nothing's illegal or.
Jonathan, can you hear? Yeah, it sounds like you can hear me, right?
As long as
I
my
can hear
connection's
you.
good.
I'm
Correct.
not hearing you. I don't know. I don't think it's on my end.
Okay.
I'm thinking your micro is not working. You know what? Jonathan, I'm gonna just call you just to keep this moving along. I'm gonna call you on my phone. and put you
All
on
right,
speaker.
got it.
Say to any other attendees, just put comments.
Yeah, if there are other attendees that have comments, and if you're not coming up, just I'll keep an eye on the chat.
So Jen, do we have to do any special paperwork for all this?
We'll just put in the minutes that who
If-
attended on Zoom and then who called in. because
Okay.
It does have to be open communication.
I know, but.
Hey, I'm
a lot
here.
of Extra paperwork, or anything we have to do on this? Okay, on this project.
Closing documents.
What's, the ti-
Everything's been rewritten.
what was the time factor for all that, if you don't mind if I? Okay.
Sean, I'm sorry, can you finish your last?
Yeah, let me get back into this. So I was, Jonathan, just so you know where I was at, I was explaining the difference in benefits. So essentially, we're increasing between the mortgage recording tax and the sales tax abatement. We're increasing to $116,743. So that's the sum of those two differences. Largely it's, additional sales tax. And again, there's no change in the pilot. So the pilot as represented, the taxable value of the project is the same. It's just the cost to build to that taxable value is changing. Is that fair? Jonathan, I don't know if you want to highlight any points that were maybe outliers in terms of like the what drove the cost increase?
Yeah, as far as what drove the cost increase when it came to the project, when they actually started the project, there's quite a few different variables that were accounted for, like additional fill material, some other logistical issues for the construction and erection of the building were the primary drivers. So there's a bunch of cost adders that occurred once we actually started the erection of the building. So those were not accounted for properly by Lehigh when they did the initial bid. And so that's what's driving, or why we're asking for an additional, I think it's almost an additional $1 million for our overall cost, which would then represent, about 100, the delta is about 110,000 as far as tax exemption, allowable tax exemption.
Correct.
Correct. So, yeah, it was just things that we got blindsided by, really, and it was just a poor job of, I wouldn't say a poor job, that's not the right thing, but it was just, I would say misses by Lehigh when they did the initial bid for the building, so.
Okay. Okay.
So the initial bid was several years ago, correct?
It was several bids. Yeah, it was 2 years ago, over 2 years ago. And then we did come full circle last year before we kicked off. They did kind of tighten up their numbers. That's where we had come in front of the board again because it was a slight rise. And because it did increase, I think by then, at that point, it increased by almost $1 million. And then here we are again with another additional $1 million, once we actually got into the land. And a lot of the drivers was the poor condition of the land. It ended up being a lot more fill than I think anyone had ever anticipated. And we had to modify quite a bit of the drainage for the site because what ended up happening, it seems that entire neighborhood drains into that site and that goes into Paris Creek. So it wasn't completely obvious during our initial planning stages, but yeah, once we got into the soil and some of the, I would say, weather conditions after we started stripping and doing the excavation, it became very obvious. There's a lot of additional needs for it, for additional drainage, different strategies for the foundation, etc.
Okay. Thanks for that explanation, Jonathan. Does anyone else online have any questions or comments? Any board members have any questions or comments?
I just followed up.
Okay.
Jennifer, it was part of my.
Okay.
Hey, Sean, just
Yes.
want to say in quick math, it's 9.7 million and it was $1 million the year before, another $1 million, that's a 15 to 20% increase in cost to the developer, and he's still building. So thank you very much for your investment.
Absolutely. We're here. We're not going anywhere. So thank you for helping. Appreciate it.
Okay, any other, for the first time, any other questions or comments on Stub 3 LLC and Stub Precision Machine? Nothing in the comments online, and nothing came into the office. For the second time, any questions or comments on Stub Precision Machine and Stub 3 LLC? And then, oh, Jonathan?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Did you? I thought you had. I maybe just being off of mute here. I didn't know if you had anything to add.
I do not.
Okay. For the third and final time, any questions or comments on Stub 3 LLC and Stub Precision Machine? And with that, we'll make close the public hearing at 7:46 a.m. Okay. I don't know if we don't vote on it.
You just close it.
Do we need a motion to close? We don't vote on it. Okay, close the public hearing. Okay. Next item is roll call for our July 10th Hamburg IDA Board of Directors meeting. Cam Hall,
Here.
Bob Hutchison, Janet is absent, Thomas Moses, Andy Palmer, Jamel Perkins, Davis Pekulski, Bob Reynolds.
Here.
Okay, and then we have Jennifer. Jonathan, I'll keep you there if you're hanging out for the meeting. When you come back to the agenda, I'll unmute you, okay?
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
All right. And we have Jennifer, Mary Doran, Jonathan Hallis, and Carolyn Stair from the Hamburg Sun. And also excused is Wentz. And then we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, a motion to open the July 10th, 2024 Hamburg, New York Industrial Development Agency Board of Directors meeting at 7:48 a.m. Thank you, Tom.
Second.
Thank you, Bob. Meeting is open. First item on the agenda are the meeting minutes from June 12th, 2024. Can I have a motion to approve? Thanks, Cam. A second. Thanks, Jamal. Any questions or comments on the meeting minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Carried. Okay, next item is Mr. Reynolds. He had the last month off, so this better be a good one.
Well, you spent money. It's good that you spent money here, you know. So our interest was $1,929.87 for the month of June. We did a $25,000 grant, which is the only thing that was really stood out there. Unfortunately, we ended up with a negative balance of $35,964.09 for the month of June. If there was anything else was just like normal business operations.
Was that, what grant was that?
That was the Pitch Hamburg second payment.
So that's the end of our obligation.
That's fulfilled now.
Did she hold up her end of the
Yep.
bargain and got?
Yeah, she had supporting documentation that provided to us with the match.
Right.
And then I think, I don't know if you signed off on it, but town finance signed off
Yeah.
on it.
So with that, with those new numbers and stuff like this, our total liabilities and equity for the Hamburg Industrial Development Agency is $785,766.51. Need a motion to approve.
Thanks, Jamel. Thanks, Andy. Any questions? Additional questions? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Carried. My update. Okay, we did have some updates to some of the project employment in terms of new jobs created in 2024, just as a result of the project approvals in last month's meeting. So again, it is definitely a slower year, but we've created 10 jobs in 2024, retained 63, so a total of 73 jobs for 2024. We do have updated receivables due in the amount of roughly $243,824. We do have one extension, but Jennifer and I are anticipating closing in August on three projects. So we should make some good headway in terms of the amount of receivables due, because we've been carrying these for so long in terms of effect on cash flow for the agency, but unfortunately, it's kind of just a result of how these projects are getting financing and closing. But we're looking forward to that to offset our expenses. Hamburg Development Corporation, we have last meeting, we discussed 2 loans approved. They're moving forward. Those loans are in the closing process now. One I'm closing on Thursday. I will be off on vacation next week. When I get back from vacation, I'm going to be hopefully closing the second loan on that. We've had 1 loan, 2 loans this year paid off, just as a normal accrued interest and principal. They've just essentially been satisfied. So that program is running well. What else is going on? Interesting news on 3556 Lakeshore. That's the Gateway building, which is under contract. We've been carrying. They do have an extension, I think, to close into October. We've had an introduction with the developer, with our executive committee. And he had mentioned, and subsequently it did go in to the town board for approval of a planned unit development. So essentially, the developer is looking for approval to redevelop the main Gateway building and then add additional multifamily parcels to the site. So essentially a plot plan of that development with the new buildings on the site will be referred to the planning board. So the planning board will be going over that, running through seeker, environmental impact, and kind of mulling over that site.
When did he file all that?
That I don't know when it was filed, but it was on the town board agenda Monday.
That's good. No, it's good.
To refer it to the planning board.
Correct.
Okay.
So
It's good. It's good
that would
news.
have, essentially a planned unit development, or if he did it like individually, would be it will be effectively like a rezoning. So it's not zoned for multifamily. So this planned unit development or being rezoned to an R3 is kind of a similar process.
So it's really in the planning board's hands then, because he got the extension out too.
Yeah, so the planning board has the
That's the
authority
thing,
to, essentially, will be going through the environmental impacts of the project as it's presented by the
Okay.
developer.
So if it goes through, we'll see about 3 years.
So, I don't know. I'm not gonna comment to that. Effectively, if needed, we can support as an industrial development agency within general municipal law, the redevelopment of the existing building. You can potentially support multifamily, but as I understand it, they're going to be townhomes for sale. So that's not in line with industrial development agency law. So, we could potentially support the adaptive reuse of that building, which would be an excellent project. If we can, boost redevelopment there. It's a building that, is a signature building in the town. It has, I think, around 40% occupancy, so it's struggling. You know, the building is not doing very well. I think the sale price is around $40 a square foot, which is fairly cheap for office space.
Pretty much a shell. I mean, for $40 a foot, you're getting a shell, and that building had a vacancy issue for a number of years. That probably goes back, 10, 15 years.
When was the last full, it doesn't, I don't know what it was not, but when was the last fully occupied?
I couldn't give you the exact date on that, but
When Tom
when
and
I
I
was
were
at the town,
kids.
it was,
Okay.
it was still, there was always a vacancy issue with that building.
Sorry about that.
Not so much the tower, but those lower levels,
It's been a while.
that big, like 2-story level, that thing's been vacant for quite a number of years.
And remind me, does the intent of the building matter in terms of our ability to help them with adaptive reuse?
Looking to you, I would say as long as it doesn't involve more than 30% retail. Correct.
But there can be a portion of retail, so it can, and that's by square footage, right?
Cost.
Oh.
Hmm.
Alright. Thank you.
So retail
That
is
makes
okay as long as it's not
Is it?
excessive.
Yeah.
Residential is okay if there's apartments in there,
That's our.
or are they not doing it?
That's where-
Will the building be all commercial?
No, I mean, I think as they initially represented it, there would be some apartments in the tower.
that
So
portion
there would be
not
apartments, office,
Right.
restaurant.
Hotel.
Yeah, and then he did talk. I mean, we'll have to see how the plan comes down, but
Yeah, I'm confused. So it's okay to do adaptive reuse, but only adaptive reuse for an office that. General CRE office spaces. Well. It's going quickly down. So we can only use our benefits to make further office space.
no, you can do multifamily is legal.
Okay, so but as long as that's that percentage, right, of cost.
Office space also gets a little tricky because of what kind of office space is it?
But I'm just thinking like, so at a project, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to understand. In this kind of unit, let's say it's whatever, and he wants to do that 30% less retail, right? So for a project cost is less than 30% going into retail, then the rest is,
Multifamily.
Is that a project we can look at? I've heard of other IDAs doing multifamily strictly. I just didn't understand.
It's quite a large project.
Right.
It's not the purchase price, it's the redevelopment. cost.
Yes, it's quite a bit of
Oh, okay, so
redevelopment.
that's different than.
No, I mean, it's not different. I'm just saying like that building may be purchased for, $4.5 million, especially with the out parcels, the entire project amount could be 60 million. So I mean, it's, and even within that building, you purchase it for 4.5 million. It probably needs to get, even if you kept it as office, a refresh, probably 2 million, just by virtue of it's 160,000 square feet. So, a refresh nowadays might be $20 a square foot, which gets you like carpet and paint. So, and maybe updated like ceiling tiles.
Things keep going the way it is.
Yeah.
In 2 years, it's gonna be 20% increase. You just literally saw.
Yeah, I mean, the deal is too, you start to, to encourage investment, and encourage like purchase and build like what Jonathan is doing at K&H is also the rental costs are increasing. So it's, if you're going to do business, you kind of have to like weigh all your options. So it's like, well, to purchase this and redevelop it, the costs are increasing, but simultaneously your rental rates are increasing. At the end of the day, you are making, your hurdle rate is less, your rate of returns are less, but ideally that inflationary cost, the rent increases will support the overall
And this
investment,
rental business
which is
doesn't happen like
typical
that.
typical real estate in the long term.
maybe.
So, yeah, so you can't necessarily abandon ship, but it's a long, these plays are more long-term plays,
Yes.
you know, in terms of real estate activities, more of a hold, which encourages the long-term investment and maintenance, at least to protect the investment in the town. So
Should be a good project if it really comes off.
I'll talk you into it.
Got a
Um,
long way to go yet, my friend. It's gotta get to the planning.
We did, yeah, it's got a long way to go. And I think, yeah, just to talk about whether or not I mean, it's helpful for the board to understand parameters of
Yeah.
compatibility within the law, but we don't know what that, you know, anything that we talk about that project right now is like
Yes.
10% likely. Yeah, because it'll go through some gyrations likely. So, the couple of other updates. I got to meet, she was in the Western New York area, this Gwendolyn Thames, who's a representative from Amazon Corporate out of Connecticut. It was a nice opportunity to meet her and, you know, kind of thank her for her investment and partnership with the building in Hamburg. They're also in town because of the continued investment in Niagara County and the progress of I think it's 3.2 million square feet facility there. So that'll be impressive to see, once that building is, you know, starting to be, the iron and stuff going up over there. That's going to be a behemoth. We did, have some conversations with Erie County Planning. And also the town board did appoint a committee for some of the stadium area sites. So some strategic sites around the stadium area and, you know, starting to plan on, you know, potentially rezone opportunities. The South Campus, if that land is vacated and it's open for redevelopment, you know, how does that become zoned? Because I don't even know if it's zoned right now at this time. Essentially it's county land that the college sits on. So that'll be interesting to see and interesting to get some of the input from, you know, like the stadium investment entities and partners, to understand, you know, the level of use of the stadium and, you know, what potentially would be compatible to support the development there.
I think you have to do that before you start the rezoning process. And I think they need to figure out what's gonna happen there. You know, from the people that have got the money or bringing the money to the project. And then build the zoning infrastructure around that.
No, that
Also
makes
should
sense.
include something to do, it should tie in with the mall as well. So we can get that redeveloped.
Nice question.
Yes, sir. Look, that's about all I had. So I was just
That's
gonna
what I
close it
figured.
out. That was a good
Jeffrey
time.
Boulevard, you got it highlighted. I know it's for sale there. Is there a reason it was
Which-
kind of?
oh, there's two.
Jeffrey Boulevard.
Oh, that's under that's a 10-acre lot. That's just about, I would say it's in the closing process now. I don't know who the purchaser is, and I don't know
Okay.
what they're looking to do there. But that's a nice prime real estate parcel that, I mean, you know, for what land costs now, I'm hoping that they have some appetite to do something with it. I mean, it's zoned like light industrial. So, you know, as
So
soon
the
as
other
that,
building that we did some work, some of our stuff that one business, that building's for sale.
for lease,
Yeah,
Iovate.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so that one is still haven't, you know, I mean, it's had showings, but not a lot of activity
Okay.
to that. That's 200,000 square feet with an additional 10 acres. So you could put up a big, you know, another 100,000 square feet, you know, into that. So it's got a lot of potential.
So we
over
still
there.
got development on Jeffries that we can support then, right?
Yes.
Right.
And there's also, you know, I'm in touch with the gentleman's out of Ohio. and Andy has been helpful in some references. The next to the AutoZone building, there's land there. So that developer owns the AutoZone and the land there. We've been really working with them to try to convince AutoZone. I think they have a couple locations in Western New York for distribution to co-locate, instead
Bring it
of
all
managing
together.
2 distribution facilities, expand. And they've been a good tenant over there. I think they started off as CarQuest, and it's in an AutoZone. So the developer, the owner's happy with the tenant, and I think we're fine with the tenant, other than they're kind of growing out of the space. There's a lot of storage trailers and whatnot. If you ever go by the site, it's a little messy. So maybe you could get them to expand their co-locate and likely save some costs for them.
Thanks, Andy.
Is that 10-acre parcel that's under contract an RP Oak Hill site, or is that?
That was an RPO kill site. Yeah. It's near the Rod and Gun
Right.
Club. Any other questions, comments? We're gonna move along to, yes, Andy,
Your anniversary.
6-year anniversary. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And no
I
gray
think-
hairs.
I got a couple. We're just thinning.
Where are they?
They're here and there. All right, next. I'm gonna unmute Jonathan in case any questions or comments come up, because the Staub 3 LLC project is next on the agenda. I have a resolution of the Town of Hamburg Development Agency authorizing Staub 3, the lessee, to acquire vacant land, construct, install, and equip an approximately 58,000 square foot advanced manufacturing facility at 0 Grimsby, Village of Hamburg, as agent for the agency for lease to the agency and subsequent lease back to the lessee, and further sublease to Staub Precision Machine Incorporated, and to take further action. Whereas Staub 3 LLC has entered into negotiations with the officials of Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency with respect to the acquisition, construction, installation, and equipping of an approximately 58,000 square foot advanced manufacturing facility at 0 Grimsby Drive in the Village of Hamburg, released to the agency and subsequent lease back to the lessee, and further sublease to Staub Precision Machine Inc., who will be the sole tenant. Whereas the lessee has encountered an unanticipated increase in the cost of the project and has submitted an amended application to the agency for additional agency assistance. And whereas the increased assistance contemplated by the agency will include mortgage tax abatement, sales tax exemption, and real property tax abatement in accordance with the existing agency uniform tax exemption policy and guidelines. The lessee is authorized to initiate the acquisition, construction, and installation and equipping of approximately 58,000 square feet advanced manufacturing facility at 0 Grimsby Drive in the Village of Hamburg for lease to the agency and subsequent lease back to the lessee, and further sublease to the sublessee for a total project cost of approximately $9,720,000, subject to the obtaining of all required approvals from the Village of Hamburg and other involved governmental agencies. The lessee and sublessee are authorized to make purchases of goods and services relating to the project that would otherwise be subject to New York State and local sales and use tax in an amount up to $3,998,860, which may result in New York State and local sales tax use exemption benefits not to exceed $349,900. The agency hereby authorizes and approves real property tax abatement benefits structured through a 10-year pilot estimated to provide $1,461,134 in real property tax abatement benefits, and resulting in an estimated total payments in lieu of taxes in $388,403 over the term of the pilot agreement. So this Section 8 has not changed. The pilot amount and the payments and the tax abatement has not changed there. It's the sales and mortgage recording tax The agency hereby authorizes and approves the value of a mortgage to be placed on the facility of approximately $9,720,000, but the mortgage tax exemption benefit shall not exceed $72,900. This resolution amends the resolution of the agency adopted on March 13th, 2024. Can
So
I
moved.
thank you, Bob Reynolds? Thank you, Andy Palmer. On to question.
All our numbers are still the same with job retention and creation. Okay.
Correct. So this will, 5 full-time jobs created and retaining
Okay.
33 existing jobs.
Question.
Yes, sir.
So if it's the mortgage is 9.73. And it's 1% tax rate, right?
The mortgage recording tax is 1%, and we're abating 75% of that.
Why won't we abate the full? If it's-
Because
State law changed, and now you're only allowed to-
Thank you for explaining that.
You're welcome. You were right, it used to be.
Good math.
State law changed. Yeah.
I normally at this point make an icon about New York
Mm,
State. but I don't like
mm,
to say it as well.
Boy, you're in rough shape. It's
It's only fight against the wall.
I mean, I was up till 1 a.m. I look better than you.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carried. All right, so that is Staub 3 LLC and Straub Precision Machine. The next project in the Staub Manufacturing Park is a resolution of the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency extending the inducement period for Grimsview Properties LLC project until August 17th, 2024. So this is the expansion project that was completed at the site. Whereas Grimsview Properties LLC has entered into negotiations with the officials of the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency with respect to the construction, installation, and equipping of an approximately 18,000 square foot addition to an existing advanced manufacturing facility at 160 Grimsby Drive in the village of Hamburg for lease to the agency and subsequent lease back to the lessee and further sublease to K&H Industries, Inc., who will be the sole tenant of the project. Whereas there has been a delay in finishing the project due to supply chain issues outside control of the lessee. Now therefore be resolved by the agency as follows. The agency does hereby extend the inducement period only for the lessee from July 17th, 2024 until August 17th, 2024 with no extension fee. This resolution shall take effect immediately. Thanks, Cam. Oh, thanks, Andy. Thanks, Cam. On to question, I will say we are not extending the sales tax benefit. So there's some administrative work that we've discussed with previous extensions. So we don't have to do updated sales tax letters, notices to the state, which, takes a few hours on Mary's time and administrative support. So that is not happening. This is a 30-day extension.
Is that enough? I just want to make sure we don't have to do this again.
Yeah, it's enough. I know we have done this about 3 times already. Yeah, we're just going through the final, all the final crossing the T's and dotting the I's with the bank right now. And we're slated to close by the end of the month. So yes, this is more than enough time. We apologize for the constant delays with the team and appreciate everyone's willingness to help and be patient with us.
Did you hear Jen? She's got some questions for your attorney that need to be answered before she can move forward. So that's why I just, this board, I mean, we don't mind addressing this, but if we need 2 months and we get everything done, at least I don't have to come back to it. I think the board's along with that. So, but you made a guarantee, so I got that in writing.
The IDA closing documents because of the questions I have.
Jen's got a lot of questions for your attorney because she hasn't been able to do some things. So as a financial guy, when do you think you could set up a meeting between our attorneys?
They just need to respond to my email.
Okay, I'll push our attorneys.
Just, yeah, give them a
today.
push.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
on vacation the week of the 22nd.
Jen's on vacation the week of the 22nd too.
So, yeah, just keep the push on, Jonathan, please. I mean, you know, you, in the resolution is a waiving of the extension fee, so just kind of, you know, you could be exposing to additional costs, so, you're kind of telling them that they're gonna be, you know, holding the bag potentially if there's additional extension fees.
Okay, yeah, I'll get with our attorneys today.
Guaranteed, August 17th. Please tell that to the attorneys, all right? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Did we approve that?
No, we just answered
Okay,
questions.
okay, that's, I just wanna make, just making sure you're paying attention. I was just hey, I'm getting old, you know.
Oh, you didn't wish. you
All
had
in
me.
favor? Opposed?
I celebrated my
Carried.
70th birthday, June 30th, guys.
Hey, thank you, Jonathan, for your participation today.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a good one.
If it doesn't happen, let me know. I'll make a call to him. Hear that, Jonathan?
I did.
I know it.
Thank you again. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. This is, you know, we talked about this and it moved up through our committee. This is a resolution to promote financial transparency within the Hamburg Industrial Development Agency. Account transfers from that demand deposit account for operating expenses will be limited to no more than $50,000 per transaction and performed by board approval. So any transactions out of essentially our restricted or more long-term savings accounts that bear higher interest into our operating account will be presented to the board. And we expect to cap those at $50,000 based on, you know, kind of a cash flow statement of cash flows that
And I
Mary
appreciate
presented.
being on that wire now. You guys include me on the wire transfer, so that's good to see.
Yes, Andy.
Yeah, I guess so.
On purpose or?
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we need,
What are you numbers for? Where?
well, the amount of, the transaction.
Damn it.
Oh, let me look at this.
The upper limit of the transaction.
Mary, there goes our
So
vacation.
we are, the upper limit is like, the upper limit is $50,000. I think,
Huh? Don't worry. about it.
what are you looking at? And can I see this? I
There's
can't
no-
see.
I would think of the resolution, right? We want to put the 50,000.
Oh, you know what? I have a different resolution.
Oh.
You do?
So,
That's nice.
yeah, I got, so, okay.
You're getting even better now,
Let
Sean.
me go, can I look at
You
this?
can have this.
Yeah.
Just go 50,000.
I think it's your turn to question them.
Okay, so we could put, so in mine, I had a limit of $50,000. So either way, it involves board approval. And then in
Need
here,
amendment to this resolution to add those lines.
No, we just make sure that the proper resolution gets.
yeah,
Could you read that one out then?
motion, resolution, limit. I apologize. Okay. Resolution of the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency limiting transfers to from restricted to savings accounts. Whereas the Hamburg Industrial Development Agency seeks to achieve higher interest payments on certain retained equity, and whereas the agency is interested in maintaining financial transparency among its members and the general public. And whereas these accounts shall be certificates of deposit or demand deposit accounts within the agency's approved banks. Now therefore be it resolved by the agency as follows. To from transfers from approved banks on restricted savings accounts will be approved by motion presented in a regular board meeting. The motion will include limited account information and the total amount of deposit or withdrawal. The motion to the resolution will limit transfers to $50,000. This resolution shall take effect immediately. So moved. Thanks, Jamel. Thanks, Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Thanks for that. No, I think I had an old version. Unfinished business, privilege of the floor, executive session, motion to adjourn the Hamburg Industrial Development Agency Board of Directors meeting at 8:20 a.m.
Second.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Andy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're good.
14th is our next meeting. Okay.
Yes. Anticipating back in Blaisdell, unless more activity in the village, so
I like
we'll
it
go
here.
where we need to be.
We stay here.
Chairs are comfy.
We stay here.
It's
It's much more convenient for me too.
Well, actually, I can say that now too. Yeah.
Can we stay here, Tom?
No problem.
Seriously,
Just so we, give permission from the party.
what do you think? What do you think, Bryce?
I'm all for it.
Well, I would like,
You got my support.
I'd like to, I'd like to involve Blaisdell in our discussion here. No,
No, I think it's just a place, but.
I'm not opposed to, well, and this could get confusing, like a road show.
Yeah, but it's easier to see everybody. Everything was. That's just my opinion. What did he say? What did he say? Defector, wow.
Yeah, right, what was that?
Hey, look at I'm a Blaisdell boy too, you know?
Always will be.
All righty, we
Keep
got,
that in the back of your mind, sir.
before you know, we'll be working on our meeting schedule for
You know,
next year. Okay,
Perhaps we should move our meeting around.
I think it'd be a good cause that shows love to the whole town, right? Not just.
yeah.
we'll meet in Lakeview. There's this nice house in Lakeview. It's got a little meeting room and everything like that.
I know where you live.
I'm not in Lakeview, brother.
That's so late.
All right, Land Development Corporation Board of Directors meeting.
All here except who was excused before.
Janet is absent, Wentz is excused, we have Jennifer and Mary. And no one online. A motion to open the July 10th, 2024 Hamburg, New York Land Development Corporation Board of Directors meeting at 8:23 a.m. Thank you, Jamel. Thank you, Cam. First item are the meeting minutes from June 12th, 2024. Can I have a motion to approve? Thank you.
Hey, we brought in $4,831.74 in income. We did have an expense this month for property insurance of $978.13. So the total net income for the Land Development Corporation was $3,853.61, which brought us to a grand total of $1,703,761.77. I need a motion to approve.
Second.
Thanks, Cam. Thanks, Andy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carried.
Is that 978, is that our annual insurance cost for that property?
Oh, yes. Yep. So that wire transfer that you had mentioned, Bob, that is for the Land Development Corp. So I had mentioned, I think in the report that the grant was submitted, it'll be submitted this week for the Fast New York, $250,000 grant application for pre-permitting of the site. So we've, been talking about this, had got an invitation to apply for the grant. There's a $250 application fee, which is only done by wire transfer, so we couldn't cut a check for that, so that, we'll check that box, we can get the application submitted. I did go back to our civil consultants, and we, like I had mentioned earlier, I think when we were just sitting down, we could squeeze in up to 450,000 square feet there at the site, because we had some showings and the question arose, like, what is the max building size that could go there? You know, again, you know, you got to make certain assumptions in terms of truck freight in and out, parking, you know, but you could, you know, potentially do that. If they need more parking, you would have to go with less building, but we could jam something that large into there. Because a lot of, you know, these, the developments that you've seen are, you know, in that, you know, we're at 21 developable acres. They're often looking for like 60 acres and above. So it's a little bit smaller. But you know, it's still a great parcel of land. I mean, there's just only so much capacity that we have there to provide a building. So we at least understand and can be responsive when we have showings and had to have that information.
What's the number again?
450,000. The other big update on the Land Corp side is Feedmore. We had a conference call yesterday. So essentially where they are at, they got their guaranteed maximum price contract done for the construction. So that's great. So construction, you know, will probably start there in the next month at the site. They are sizing the debt. So probably within the next 2 weeks, they'll have the amount of the bond offering. So they'll have the total amount of the offering, and then they already have underwriters for, you know, bonds, you know, who's going to buy the bonds. That's already like generally determined now. So the, you know, the next step will be sizing the debt and then going into closing. So it was a little bit of a hurry up and wait, but it's kind of, now that the construction cost, you know, is locked out, it'll be moving forward from there.
I just asked this financial, just include me in what's going on with the bond, so I can just make sure we're got oversight from the financial part for us.
Okay.
Okay.
In terms of,
You know,
like
just,
when it gets to I don't
yeah,
know.
when it gets towards closing and stuff, just so
Okay.
something, if I could read it to make sure that, you know, everything's good for us on our side, for the financial side. I don't know how much the other board wants, but I just want to make sure financially,
Okay.
you know, since I'm kind of responsible for that, I just want
So
to.
then you can go with that and then just key in the board to any
Yeah.
relevant information. I appreciate that. Okay, any other questions or comments on my report?
Yes,
Yes.
I think we should have a little discussion. We're offline, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
We're in
we
open
could talk
session.
about our meeting with that developer. And,
Right.
I don't know if you want to do Bob or me or whatever you want to do. But
Right.
I'll just set it up for you, Bob, that we had an offer placed before us as an executive board. So if you want to.
Yeah, they wanted to, well, the same person that's gonna buy the Gateway building.
Go into executive session for kind of
Maybe.
negotiation.
It's not a negotiation or anything. I just want to update the board. That's how I feel. And,
We're not recorded, but it's a public meeting.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, so you'll have minutes on this. I don't know if.
Maybe we
Okay,
do want to go to.
Exactly.
Okay, why don't
Let's-
we just
Not,
Yeah.
motion to go into executive session
Yeah.
to discuss a real estate
Yeah.
contract at 8:29 AM.
okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're in executive session.
Anyways.
yeah. There was the individual purchasing the Gateway building.